All right, so let's talk for a second about upward spirals. What do I mean by this? Upward spirals are something that I leverage quite often in my life to go from a state of lack and of neglecting my inner life to investing in the things that really matter and almost hacking my way into this rather than forcing my way into this. I was listening to a podcast episode with Andrew Huberman and a guy named Ido, I'm going to forget his last name, Ido something. He is a really brilliant dude who mostly focuses on movement and how to move your body in new and creative and dynamic ways. He has all kinds of amazing teachings. I will link them below. But he was talking with Andrew on this podcast about when you have two different ways of motivating the same behavior. So he talks about this sort of like forcing yourself discipline version of motivation. And then he describes this other way of doing things where he calls softening into it or relaxing into it. And he kind of compares and contrasts these two ways of doing things. But what I've found in my life is that when I discover a way to relax into a behavior or a discipline or some action in my life that I want to repeat more often, I get so much more out of it because it becomes the easiest thing for me to do rather than being something that I'm slamming my head against a wall trying to do. So my story is I just got back from a 3.5 week long trip to Colorado, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, New York, and North Carolina. It was incredible. It was kind of like the entire East Coast trip that I've been long awaiting and really wanted to do for a while. I live in Hawaii, and so I don't often get out to that part of the country. And so we just made it a huge trip. And one thing that I absolutely love about coming back from a trip out east is that the jet lag is like the right direction of jet lag. So I just naturally wake up at like 4 or 5 in the morning every single day. And it just gives me this boost that I really need. And so I always use trips like this to sort of set them up for an upward spiral. And so before I landed in Honolulu on this plane ride that I had, it was like a 6-hour ride from the last leg of the trip from San Diego to Honolulu. I took out my journal and just started mapping out like, what would I like my life to look like when I get back? What are the behaviors that I want to relax into, to soften into? Because I know that I already have this momentum from this waking up thing or from this jet lag thing that I'm about to experience. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to try to run at least 3 miles a day every single day when I first get back. I'm going to go absolutely ham on content because that has been one of the highest leverage things that I've done in the past few years is just go crazy on content, especially content for Ritual Organics, my company, and also just on friendship content, which is most of what I talk about. I was like, that is the one behavior that I have done in the last few years that has truly changed my life more than almost anything. So I'm like, I'm going to make tons of content. I'm going to eat super well. I literally created a macros tracking app with Claude that I just voice to text all of the food that I'm eating to Claude, and it just cranks out a dashboard that's telling me like how much more I should eat, where I should be supplementing things, where I should be cutting back. So I've just created all of these tasks that I'm going to be doing every day and these systems around like the first week or two, because I'm aware that when my brain is in a state that is ready to receive new behaviors, such as this jet lag state of waking up early, I'm up before the rest of the world is, I have time to start my day on a good note, to think about things. When I'm in that state, like that's when it's right. That's the right time to strike and to actually change things. I've done this in the past too. Like back in 2023, I went on a backpacking trip with my wife and her family, which was amazing. We spent a week and a half, or maybe just a week in the backcountry in California. And I did the exact same thing. I wrote down on that backpacking trip, these are the behaviors that I would like to change when I get back. And these are the new behaviors that I would like to start. And that was really the catalyst for my entire career changing. I had been working in the corporate world. When I came back from that, I really doubled down on my own content. I had a video get over 60 million views, and it catapulted my whole career from like being a corporate robot to making money independently and being able to work as a freelance social media manager, to be able to shoot weddings more often, to start my own business. It just catapulted all these things. And so I'm kind of ranting here, but what I'm trying to get at is Take stock of the moments in your life that give you a fresh restart. Some of them are small. Sometimes it's just Sunday. Sunday is the last day of your gap in between working, where you get to sit down and ask yourself, what do I want the next week of my life to look like? When you get married, you get to go on a honeymoon and ask yourself the question, what do I want my marriage to look like? I just took like a very short sabbatical a couple of months ago and went and stayed at one of my friends' houses in Oregon on the coast, just all by myself for a week. Same thing. It was just an opportunity to hit reset and get this upward spiral going. I think that is in so many ways what rest is about, and what taking space from like the day-to-day life thing is about. You get to these mountain peaks where you can get some perspective on everything. And then rather than just enjoying that for what it is and having fun while you're there, taking some time to really set that intention of what am I going to do? Because again, I think this is the difference between forcing yourself to do something and really using discipline as the main motivator versus softening and relaxing into the behaviors that you want to be engaged in. There's ways of doing the hard things in your life that is the easiest way to do the hard thing, if that makes sense. I really highly recommend listening to this podcast episode with this guy, Ido. It's so captivating the way he talks about, like, so much of it is really just even about self-talk and about the way that you look at doing hard things. I was reflecting on this even in my run. I could choose to force myself into kicking up the pace for the last mile, or using a softer, more relaxed tone with my own brain, I could relax into a faster pace, to kicking my own ass, into picking it up, to spiking my heart rate, into getting a better workout in. Like, there's all these cool little minute things that you can start to tweak with your self-talk, with the way you motivate yourself, with the way you choose to do the things you want to do, that are the best way to do it. It's the easiest way to do the hard thing. So anyway, if you guys have any type of space coming up, like a weekend, like a sabbatical, like a honeymoon, like a vacation or a backpacking trip in the mountains, I cannot tell you enough how much it has changed my life to take advantage of those spaces. Get a journal. If you don't already have a journal, freaking get one, and just write like 5 paragraphs about your dream life. What do you want your money to look like? What do you want your presence online to look like? What do you want your relationships to look like? Your diet, your exercise. Just dreamstorm your ideal life when you're in these mountain peak moments, so that when you come down from the mountain, there's a game plan and there's something that you can soften and relax into that is in some way pushed forward by your return from the mountain, right? Like, you've got all this potential energy on the mountaintop, to use a physics reference. You're going to turn that into, what's the opposite of potential energy? I don't even remember. I need to take physics again. Potential energy, real energy, where things are moving. Someone roast me in the comments. I need to remember what that is. Gosh, it's been so long since I took a physics class. But anyway, use those opportunities to really do something, especially if there is a jet lag in that direction. It's so much harder when you're coming from west back east, because it's the opposite. It's harder to get up in the morning. Anytime you have even 1 or 2 hours of jet lag that's going to get your ass up a little earlier in the morning, that is such an insane opportunity that you should be capitalizing on. That's my rant for today. Thank you so much for tuning in.